Sunday. Been and fed the chickens. What do you think's going on today then? Well, yeah. Back to winter. Thank heavens for that. I thought we was going to be cutting grass. Thankfully, no. Now we're back into deep winter. Which is much better for me. Beautiful. Look at it. Chickens are happy. Casper's happy. I'm happy. We know where we are now. It's a stunning day though. Stunning day. Look at that. Nothing but snow and trees. It's not that cold. -4, -5 I guess. That's Celsius of course. You get quite a few of these snap trees. That's where the snow and ice has built up on them so much and bent them over, and that's it. That's why the wind's good for trees. Not severe wind, but the wind's good because strengthens them up, obviously. Makes them into big strong trees. He's having a whale of a time. So this was bad track yesterday. I don't know what we got. I don't know, 3 or 4 inches. See that rock? That's iron. I haven't done a real mineralisation video. I've always had too many other things to do. But the iron, black sands, quartz, it's everywhere, absolutely everywhere. So the theatre that I've got, the base of the theatre is, I think they're something like 5 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. They're pink quartz, 100% pink quartz. And it's probably sat on 100 of them. It's quite amazing, really. Anyway, there we go. That's what we should be looking like. Now, what's come up my road today? Just me. I'm sure he gets confused with himself and a polar bear. There we go. Now around the corner in the entrance of the canopy, I've got a GoPro on a stand doing a time lapse, and I started it this morning before the snow started, and I'm going to turn it off tonight when it gets dark, and we should have a nice time-lapse snow video. And it is starting to come down now. There you go. So there is a downside to all that. Normally the curtain would be across to stop all this snow coming in, but because I'm doing this time-lapse, I've left the curtain open. Means I've got a lot of snow to clear up. So now we're into Monday morning, last day of March. We have to forget about everything we were doing, or forgetting everything we have been doing over the weekend, because as you can see, it's still snowing. And, well, this is normal. This is a normal thing. So what's normal when it snows? Ploughing. Well, we're not going to be able to plough because of the gullies and everything that are in the yard. We'll have to use the bucket, but I got the bucket on yesterday because we had to go and clear Thomas's drive to make sure his wife can get back in when she comes back from work. So we've got the bucket on already, but I think we're going to have to pop some diesel in her. Now I did make a bit of a mistake on the pump. If you remember, I made this, I got this Wolf pump and made this pump up, and in the coldness of minus whatever degrees, I run over my pipe, crushed it, and it snapped, so my pipe's a bit shorter than it was. But anyway, I'm sure it'll still do what it's got to do if I put this barrel up. Well, it's not as cold as it is normally, but things still don't want to comply. Come here. Right. Let's give her another tank of diesel. Liquid gold, isn't it, these days? May as well be. Jesus Christ. I can't even tell you what a massive saving that is on my back. No longer having to lift these barrels up onto this. Such a simple little thing. So I have to thank Matt Diesel Creek, because if I hadn't been sitting watching a fellow machine maniac, it would never even occur to me to have done that. Right. I think we're ready to fire the old girl up now. Where you not got to get disheartened. I mean, we've not had any snow now for 2 weeks, and you kind of forget that you spend all that time and effort on cleaning it up, and then you wake up the next morning and it's Groundhog Day. We have a good few Groundhog Days here. We really do. Right, we've been out and shoveled snow this morning, but what I really wanted to do was I wanted to get a pack of wood in that I've had lying around for 6 years, 5 years. Now I think this pack of wood came with this building. When there'd been no real machining in there for 20, 25 years before I bought it. So I think this pack could be, well, there's no date on any of the packing, well there's no packing left, but I think it could be, I think it could be as old as 25 years. So this edge here, this has been up against the wall, but you can see it's been lying around. I cut it off about 4 years ago so I could get it in the back of the tractor shed, which is where it's been sat all this time. But I think this pack of wood, it could be 25, 30 years old. And I strapped it together so that it didn't make a mess out in the yard, because as you can see, still snowing. So, I've been using little bits here and there as I've needed that particular size. It's not a particularly big size at all. But I've got another wall that I need to timber out, which is the wall I'm working on upstairs in the old gymnasium, or what's left of the old gymnasium, which will be lounge, sitting room, front room, my room, television room, whatever you want to call it. It's a big room, but I've got a wall with windows in it, so I'm going to tongue and groove it. And this is what we got. So it's not what we've been used to machining. It's not particularly big stuff. So I'm going to have to do something interesting with it, and I have to set up the machine. So this I've got my own tongue and groove cutters. But that had I've actually got them in one of the blocks. That's got its own tongue and groove cutters as well, that machine. So I picked them up, and they're not very good. I've cleaned them up, and they've been used a lot. So this is what we've got. Let me turn the camera around. Right, so these are the two sets of tongue and groove cutters. This puts the tongue on the boards, and this puts the groove in the boards. I've cleaned them up, but they're quite burnt as a result of running them too fast, and this bit of metal overheats. And they're a bit blunt. So I don't have a profile cutter. I'm not set up for profiling these kind of cutters. I've got a straight profiler. So what I wanted to do was show you an alternative where I can put an edge back on these cutters, which will allow another 4,000 or 5,000 boards to go through without any problem at all, without wrecking any of the profile. Some of you will know this and some of you won't. So I'm going to show you. What I've got there is a stone. Wet stone, dry stone, fine stone is what it is. And it's not even a very big one, but it'll do just what I want. So in order to put an edge back on all these and in here, right, without changing the profile or wrecking it, the easiest way to do it is to rub it on a stone, flat side down. And that sharpened all my edges, including that one in there, which you would have to do with the profile stone, the thin one, to get to that. So we've taken the back off. And that's sharpened all the edges up. How many times depends on the coarseness of your stone and how blunt the cutters are. Look at that. Oh yeah. And that's all you've got to do. And that doesn't, you ain't got to get in here with a grinding wheel, or although I've got some grinders, I would still have to do all this by hand. And if you just nick it slightly by doing something wrong, or slip, or do it at the wrong angle, you've ruined your zero tolerance cutters. If you do it on the back, right, I can tell you that's good enough for another couple of thousand boards, no problem. And you haven't wrecked the profile. The profile will be exactly the same. Yeah. And that's not supposed to fit inside there, because if that fitted inside there, when you cut your tongue and grooves, they wouldn't fit together. Right, so this cuts the groove. The groove has to be slightly bigger than the tongue. Otherwise they won't fit together. Right, I'll clean these up and we'll go and set the machine. Right, so there we have it. That's enough to put the edge back on all these cutters. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change the side blocks to profile cutters. That's that one. So these were new cutters I've had lying around for a while, which I use for profiling, the skirting and the window architraving. So that's our two blocks set up. We'll set that up and then we'll decide what, if anything, we're having on the top profile, set that up, and then we should be able to set the machine up and run it. So I've been playing with moulds. That's a specific wall that I'm doing. I wanted something busy, something completely different to everything I've done. And I've kind of come up with this. They're quite small, but when they go together, if I can make up a solid wall, it will look quite busy. The downside is this, because this is going behind radiators, if they gap, it's not going to look so big. So I'm just thinking all this process through. In the meantime, I've got this pack inside the factory. We're getting a bit tight now, to say the very least. So I've got this kind of birch here stacked up because I'm waiting to use that, and I don't want to put it in the normal timber racks. But it is getting very busy. I've had to bring it inside because the temperature's dropping and it's still snowing. Oh no, the sun actually might have come out. Anyway, so I'm in the middle of all this. I'm in the middle of the process and thinking, and now I've got to go to coffee. Got a coffee with my friend. So I dare say by the time we've done coffee and cake, that'll be the end of the day. So we'll have to come back and visit this tomorrow. Yeah. So I don't know how many days this video's over. 3 or 4 so far. Anyway, I have put other ones up. Yeah, that's it. that's all we can do on that for now. can't hear very much even with my earplugs in. Should I be excited at that? Yeah. It's like a turning point. So I switched that machine on at 10 o'clock this morning. It's now 3:15. It's 5 hours and 15 minutes non-stop. I've had coffee as I'm working. I've shoved a length in whilst I've gone down and stuffed the furnace with wood. I haven't even switched it off when I'm emptying the bagging units. Depending on which one's full, I just switch the bagging unit off. And so the exciting part about that is this is the first time in 5 years it's gone more than an hour or two without a major breakdown somewhere. A fuse blowing, worse, bags, blockages, nothing. 5 hours, 15 minutes, nothing. On the clip a few seconds ago, I showed you the speed at which it was travelling through. Way too slow. Now, for what I'm doing, perfect. It's not the best quality wood I've got. Am I shouting? I've got a bad ringing in my ears. Anyway, it's not the best quality wood, obviously. But I didn't have to pay for it, so it was already mine, as it were. So by running it slowly, there was no blockages in the pipes. The finish is much better. Yeah, it's a good 5 hours of work. So I've done just over half the pack. So that's what's left out of there. For the observant of you, you'll notice when the camera was set up the other end that the bottom half of the pack was all squirrely. Well, did it all collapse and fall over? No, only mostly. Well, I've straightened it back up now, so that's what I've got left, and that's what we've got. It don't look like a lot for the amount of time I've been running, but I'll show you what I have got for the amount of time I've been running, which will give you an idea. Byproduct. There you go. That is all shavings. All machine today. All today's byproduct. Lovely. Light and fluffy. So the interesting thing about this is, in the 80s, you could sell that for £2 sterling, 2 Great British pounds a bag, to the women that keep horses. Well, we're 30 years on from that, aren't we? I don't know. You can't even get £1 a bag for it, $1 a bag for it. They have it for chickens. Anyway, it's also insulation. But yeah, nothing's worth anything here. Right, that is, to me, that is 2 walls. That is 2 window walls. This is the window wall in the room we're working on, which was the old gymnasium, and it's also going to be the window wall in the kitchen area, because they got a lot of windows in. Unlike this room that's only got 2. Anyway, yeah, that's a good day, that is. I'm so chuffed. You can see how clean I am. No rolling around on the floor, no putting out fires, nothing, just perfect. Except I can't hear anything.